Thank you for clipping that, Batman. This hand... Yeah, seems pretty reasonable. To go ahead and keep this. To go ahead and go... Diamond, Conjurer on 1, probably Guidance on 2, unless we rip a Wild. If we rip a Wild on 2, we'll play the Howling Plains Alpha. We also rip a Diamond on 1 here, and then lead on that off of Diamond. Cobblestones or Diamond Shard. Perfect. Alright, so I'll go ahead and do this. Make a Diamond. Play this Dorko out. Next turn, we'll get to go Wild, Howling Plains Alpha, and the following turn, Satyr, True Bard, Valor, copy this, draw a card. I feel like I want to trade this here. I feel like they're going to have a lot of removal anyway, so like, this thing's probably going to deal a lot of damage to us. Sweet, and they don't take the trade. It's always worth not showing them that we can make a Valor before we offer that trade, because they know we can make a Valor. If they don't have removal, they're more inclined to block. I think you need to double check, Terminator. Do you have a video recording like I do? Because I thought I played the card too. Like, it made the sound and it moved the card from my hand to my chain, but if you look at the resources in the video, it doesn't actually take anything from my resource pool. It looks and sounds like I played the card, but it didn't actually play the card by adjusting my resource pool. That's what makes it a really annoying bug. Like, it looks and sounds like it did the thing, but it didn't actually do the thing. So now, even if they kill this, I drew a card off of this, so sweet. So they 1-for-1'd me, and they technically ended up down tempo on that exchange too. Weird that we're willing to trade there, but not willing to trade for the 2-1 last turn. Sabretooth's really annoying. It means I can't play the Dawn Mesa Duo and draw a card with it next turn. I guess I get to go ahead and play this Ardent Crusader, though, so, like, that's not the worst. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. I'm not going to Guidance next turn because I'd prefer to hold up Runebind to protect this Ardent Crusader, especially since my opponent showed me that they have Pyre Strikes in their main deck. And post-board, we definitely want to put plus defense in the Ardent Crusaders because that protects them from Sabretooths and it protects them from Pyre Strikes. I mean, that you can fix by a relog, right? Alright, so I'm gonna start by attacking with this. See what we get. Alright, just crack in there. Guidance for a non-resource, see what we find here before I decide to play the Dawn Mesa Duo. Pippit Hustler, you say. Alright, playing this out for another Wild, not that it matters. This is our only double diamond card in the deck, and everything else is single thresholds, and the other three. Could just like Dawn Mesa Duo and make a Valor here. I don't hate that. They don't really have anything I really want to hustle at the moment. And again, I'm going to, opposed to playing this Valor out, I'm just going to go ahead and hold this Runebind up. Badger, badger, it's a badger. It's a very funny badger, 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 farmer, badger, 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 duck. Yeah, this is a cute interaction. I guess I don't really care about this. This has life drain on it, so like, I'm like super worried about my health total here. Valor this guy, and then crack you for 8. I guess I'm gonna do this first for a non-resource. I guess there might be merit to just like holding that Guidance there, so that way I can Runebind plus like undo it on demand. Could be helpful. It also lets me leave up Pippit Hustler this following turn if I wanted to. Do I want to play this? I feel like they could just gain like a buck ton of charges and like kind of go bat crazy on this, but at the same time, Yeah, I'm just going to play this out and get the pressure on the table, I think. Feels a little bit bad against a Pyre Strike, but, like, I think they'd have to go, like, Resource Double Strike to make me feel really bad. I guess they could go, like, Strike plus, Skyguard Steadfast, and these cards are so good. Yep, just no attacks, because I have a wall of 4/4s. Sweet, I think I'm going to hold this guidance for, like I said, being tricksy with the Runebind here. Just go ahead and smash with my giant men and women. This Pippit Hustler will foobar double blocks nicely. Yeah, I'm actually gonna hustle the Boltwing Phoenix here, I think. I don't want it coming back. And then, yeah, I'm okay with the rest of this happening. I'm actually gonna trade with the Rock Slider. This is a little bit bigger, but, like, the Rock Slider's like this kind of scary type effect, right? I don't really want that to hang out on their side of the board. The Rock Slider also blocked my Pippit Hustler. Where would I default to in those shards? Yeah, probably Swift Strike. I don't know. Honestly, there might be merit to defaulting to the plus defense gem too, just because, like, there's still a lot of Ruby removal and, like, people are playing Strangle, so, like, your Crusader not dying to Strangle seems like kind of a big deal. Pride's Fall doesn't seem unreasonable. Runebind actually seems kind of medium minus in this matchup. Hero of Legend, it seems okay. Yeah, the reason why I'm starting Skyguard Steadfast on these is, like, Skyguard Steadfast is also really good against the Blood decks. It's good against the MC decks, the Socket decks that have been running around, because basically all the Socket decks are base Dibin, so they keep putting Flight in their Dorkos. Morning, Serpy boy. Alright, got two slots. I really don't want these Runebinds. A Pride's Fall is probably fine, because it kills Rock Slider at instant speed. As a quick action. One more card to bring in. Honestly, Gladiator might be an okay gem too. I've kind of grown, the more I've played with the Gladiator, the more respect for that one I've developed. I'm just gonna bring in an extra Pride's Fall for now. I don't really know what the threat basis of their deck is. There's probably easily 4 Rock Sliders in it, and, like, in these troop type mirrors, Gladiator is sort of worse. Kind of Burgle. It's, like, not strictly worse, right? Because, like, it technically applies more pressure. It's much better against the control decks. This beautiful resource base, never not perfect. Morning, Ian. This is one of my favorite interactions in this deck. You can see here, Brown Fox Scout has revealed itself on top of my deck, and we can play it off the top of my deck, but I'm not going to have 2 resources before I can play it. But we get to Fate Weave here, and I'm going to get to Fate Weave a non-resource on top, so this Brown Fox Scout, wait. Did I just Fate Weave the same? God, I was talking about how sweet this was going to be, and I think we just Fate Weaved a Brown Fox Scout on top of Brown Fox Scout. Well, normally, statistically, I guess I could have put a resource on top, but I really don't want another resource. Often, you can Fate Weave something on top of the Brown Fox Scout, and then you get another chance to play it. Yep, alright, tilt. What a fucking tilt. What a just slide sideways out of my chair tilt. 50% chance. Yeah, so what are the odds of that happening? So there's 22 resources in my deck. How many? So I had 4 resources in my hand, so there were 18. No, it doesn't matter about resources. I'm only looking at non-shards. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4 non-shards in my deck, in my hands. That means there were 34. So it was 1 in 34 for what just happened to happen. So normally, you can Fate Weave and put something else on top and then not draw this. Except when you're exceedingly unlucky. If you're exceedingly unlucky, that is not an option. It was almost really cool. Yeah, I've done it a lot, and it's great, because, like, playing this card off the top of your deck is one of my favorite things in Hex. Am I playing out this other Howling Plains Alpha? Yeah, it seems fine. It's going to power up this one next turn. Actually, I can give it Valor to itself, right? And then attack with both of them. We'll see what they do here. If they like, play a Badger, they're going to crack me for 9. But, like, I'm starting at 25, so, like, more power to us. It was almost really cool, yeah. Yeah. We're just casting the Pyre Strike now. Okay, sure. Alright, so because they did that... Hey, look, a Brown Fox Scout on top of my deck. Alright, so that one we're going to get to play off the top of our deck. I'm going to go ahead and play the Cobblestones out here. Snake the Ruby Threshold Trifecta, and then I'm just going to pass the turn. We can go End Step Brown Fox, End Step Brown Fox. I'm going to go report this card didn't cast issue bug on the forums really quick here while I'm thinking about it. I could try and double block this, but they have 5 resources up, so I think that's asking for trouble. I also just, like, kind of want to pressure my opponent here a bunch. Sure. You have Fireballed my dork. So now I can go ahead and play this Hero of Legend, and then I can Valor this, and then attack with the Brown Fox Scout through this Rock Slider, and then if this connects, I get to go ahead and hit them for generate a Valor there. I'm actually going to Valor this. It protects this from Pyre Strike, and it lets it trade in combat with one of these should they make a bunch of charges next turn. Because, like, if they play, like, a Badger, I'm probably pretty obligated to trade with that, which is, like, fine, and then I'm pretty ahead on resources. It also means, like, they can't just attack both these in for free. If they attack with both of these as 3 power troops here, I am going to go ahead and block. This is, 2 Scorches. Alright, interesting. That's cute. This makes Scorches for the champion power to discard. You can't attack here, which is sweet for us. Transmogrifade is an excellent draw. How much pressure do I want to apply here? I feel like with Transmogrifade, I can just apply a buck ton of pressure. So because both of these are Valorous, I can go ahead and just attack with both of them, and the Hero of Legend makes them both invincible. So, like, crack you down to 8, make some Valors. Play him a 4-6 out. I'm gonna put I might just put a resource on top here. Let's make my champion power. I'm gonna put a non-resource for now. Eventually we'll hit a resource if we need it. The game's probably gonna be over before that. A lot of the times the game ends before Dreaming Fox. The aggro matches end before Dreaming Fox gets to use their champion power with this deck. But your champion power against the aggro decks is 25 starting health. So, like, it's not a big deal. I guess if I Valor this, I could block this and not have it die. So that seems worthwhile. Although they do have Scorches in their hand, I suppose. It's possible Valoring this makes sense, because then this doesn't die to Primordial Sabertooth, which is, like, a card that, like, actually exists in their deck. Boltwing Phoenix, sure. No attacks is good for us. Woken Drokatar in the Furiko deck. I've not, can't say that I've tested that card in the Furiko deck. Alright, well, we're 10 out of 10 playing this card. I feel like I want to leave back a couple guys on defense at least here, so I'm going to go ahead and smash with just these two, I think. If they block with this, I'm pretty obligated to transmog it, which could leave me soft to these coming back across the table, I suppose. That being said, I'm going to get to Valor up these dorks a whole bunch here, so yeah, I'm going to Valor this guy. Make sure you don't get him back. Sure. Yep, you got a freebie. I don't get any Valors. I'm gonna go ahead and again make this bigger so that way I can trade with a Rock Slider instead of combat. What's the worst case? They go Shard, Badger, all their things get 4. We're dead to Shard, Badger, aren't we? Maybe I should have left more guys back. This puts these at 7, 9, that's 18. Am I dead to a Shard here? No, I'm not dead to a Shard, right? I've got a bunch of defense here. What is Wintermoon's champion power is miserable in a deck like this. It's truly, truly terrible. Now we're dead to a Shard. We were dead to removal plus Shard. It's possible I should have been more conservative last turn, but like I also wanted to pressure through their troops. So we are dead to a resource here because these things have Crush. Wintermoon, like, people keep... I don't actually even think Wintermoon is very good in the control decks that people play it in. Like, Wintermoon's a pretty mediocre champion power compared to Dreaming Fox, because, like, Dreaming Fox guarantees that you're going to have something to do on the turn you play it, and, like, Wintermoon... Dreaming Fox guarantees you a card boost on turn 7 most of the time, whereas Wintermoon, you have to put cards in your discard pile, shuffle them back into your deck, and then redraw them. So in order to, like, generate 2 pieces of card advantage with Wintermoon, the game has to go a really long time if your deck doesn't have a significant amount of filtering in it. And a lot of these standard decks don't have the significant amount of filtering and card draw to really capitalize on that. I think I'm just going to attack with both of these, right? The fact that Dawn Mesa Duo is going to get to come down and be Life Drain is pretty relevant for next turn. They're obligated to chump block one of these as well. And I'm going to play this without mobilizing, so I have the Phantom back as an extra blocker. Well, I guess if I mobilize, I get to put... Maybe that's wrong, actually. Yeah, that was wrong. I should have mobilized off of here, because then I could have turned this into a 6/6, and this actually gains me more life, since these have Crush anyways when they come across, and it would have been able to insulate this from Sabretooth and Pyre Strike. This is really cute. Fallen Singularity with Rock Slider. Yeah, Wintermoon's great in combo decks and control decks with lots of card filtering. This is neither of those things. People often get, like, caught in the trap. They're like, oh, I'm in the 2 shards with this dual shard champions, and I should automatically be in the dual shard champion. It's like, well, no, that's not really the case. You want to, like, think about what your deck is doing and, like, what you stand to gain from your champion activation. Be right back. I think I need to change a diaper. This hand needs a Coyote or another Sapphire Threshold to have perfect resources, or just another Cobblestone, so I think keeping this is pretty reasonable. We get to go ahead, we're on the play here, we get to go Cobblestone, Conjurer, Well of Life, Conjurer, and then, like, even if we miss the Sapphire threshold for a little bit, like, double Conjurer into Hero of Legend is pretty good. It's funny, we were testing the Zorath deck against Kaigalichi last night, and on the Zorath side of the table, I was just, like, boarding out my Hailstorms, because I was just like, nope, I'm just, like, not having any troops for you to Rotten Rancor ever. Screw that card. Man, the mortal enemy of the 2-1 for 1. The 1-3. Look at that. Perfect resources. This is a Coyote and a human. So, I think... Huh. Now that I hit this, this is a touch awkward here. I think I actually want to play this for Diamond since I hit this for the turn. Because this needs double diamond. This is the one reason I wasn't too sure, even though this enables both our racial shards, I wasn't sure this card was good in this deck, just because, like, it's basically adding a 4th threshold requirement to the deck, right? We need double diamond, single sapphire, single wild, so there's 4 different threshold types we need. Definitely the 1-3. The 1-1 for 1, if you have 2 2-1s, you can attack through. Brutal. Brutal. Oh no! How could we ever win the game? My opponent has assembled so many things that are good against our aggressive deck. Moonrise Elder's pretty good. I'm gonna just mobilize this off of the Intrepid Conjurer. You want your pants? This will generate us 1 Valor, which lets us start making the Intrepid Conjurers go a little bit wide. And then next turn, if we hit a Shard, we can go, like, Valor this, play the Hero of Legend, crack with these two, and hopefully start generating some more Valors. Hi, buddy. Hi. Might Singer, okay. I personally am enjoying the playing mono troop mirrors that are all just like troops that died to Lascars. The sun's kind of bright, huh? Yeah, the sun's bright. Alright, I think I'm just playing this and passing the turn now. Really need to hit another resource. Kind of unfortunate. We're playing 22 plus 4 guidance plus 6 pieces of ice. He's basically a vampire. Ooh, they've got a Ruby Splash in their deck. Okay. Whenever you play a card with cost 5 or greater, add a creation counter on it, then this gets +2/+2. Interesting. Okay, so they're playing some kind of really big ramp deck. This Moonrise Elder is going to break this board stall up really nicely when we hit a 4th resource. Perfect, just like that. So Moonrise Elder is going to come into play here, and it's going to generate a Valor for us for every Ardent troop we control here. It's kind of unfortunate. Honestly, I think the Silvertail Adjudicator is the discard. I think I'd rather have the Valor than the bird. Alright, so it's sad that we can't play that off the top of our deck, but this is the part where our opponent gets very sad. So we Valor this, and then we're gonna Valor this guy, and Valor this guy. And then we're gonna go ahead and start attacking here. So, Hero of Legend gives my things invincible when they attack. I'm not gonna attack with these guys because I want to leave some back on defense here. So these two are invincible, and I get a Valor whenever any of these connect, and this is gonna life drain for us when it connects. So we're gonna get at least one more Valor next turn, which means we're gonna get to put 3 more Intrepid Conjurers out. These troop light, there are these removal light troop heavy matchups like this, where we just get to go wide with Intrepid Conjurers, are really good for us. That being said, my opponent is going to get to crack across here for a bunch if they want, but they probably just die on the backswing, so I'm not sure they want to do that. Valor you. Valor you. Valerie, Valera, Valerie, Valera, ha 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 ha, Valerie, Valera, bomb, 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 bomb. I think I want to just smash them with everything, right? Like, they're going to have to block a significant number of these. They are all invincible. Because my hero is the thing legends are made of. Bunch of chump blocks in here. And remember, like, all those things that just died, those cost them cards, right? Like, each of these Intrepid Conjurers, like, these are just Valors to us. So, my wife had already purchased the Hero of Legend deck, and she wasn't playing the Moonrise Elders, so I just took the Moonrise Elders from her account. Blinding Ire seems great. So Runebind doesn't seem great against the cards they played, but it feels like they're a wildlife deck. I don't know, I could see this going either way. I'll leave a couple of Runebinds in. They're good at generating Tempo 2 and resetting Bite Singers, I think. Hello, Tiny Dugget. I'm not opening the pen for you. You're not coloring on the walls. Just gonna go ahead and save, see how this feels. Might readjust after we see more of their deck in the second game. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Needs a couple more resources, but we're on the draw and we have a Wild Ace here. Would have took a couple mulligans here. Intrepid Conjurer, like, on its own, isn't very good against what my opponent's doing, but, again, like, the go-wide type plan of what Intrepid Conjurer allows us to generate when we get, like, Hero of Legends, or even just, like, these Howling Plains Elf and Dawn Mesa Duo going is very, very potent. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just gonna curve out naturally here, then. No blocks here. They swap a troop out. So every time this attacks, they get to swap a troop in their hand out with something in their deck. Perfect. That enables our last. I don't think they have anything that punishes this attack in their shards. Okay, that was gonna happen regardless, so that's fine. Play this out. Play Howling Plains Alpha. Do you want help, Declan? No. I'm gonna block here. It's a little medium against the second Crackling Magma, but otherwise it seems fine. Return. Perfect. Another Cobblestone. So I'm just gonna play this out for. Okay, I'll play the beep beeps. I'm gonna Valor this and then crack them for 4, and then play the second Howling Plains Alpha out. Whoa, that's loud. Declan had the remote, and he turned the sound all the way up. Hopefully that doesn't get my video muted. Oh, Robocar Poli. Free money is great. It's like money you didn't have to work for. It's wonderful. Interesting that they chose to... Witch with Sabretooth is also very interesting, right? Because, like, Witch plus Sabretooth means that you can swap troops for, like, removal. More Malice Constance. I'm not sure if I'm going to play more Malice Constance today. We played that a bunch yesterday. This, at this point, it's just like Valor this and then crack them, right? I'm gonna put an extra Valor on here, just so it doesn't die to Sabretooth anymore. Wow, that's really good. Huh, maybe I'm supposed to Runebind that, actually. Yeah, that was bad on my part. I should have Runebound that. I just kind of clicked through it without thinking. But Runebinding Lullaby is actually just a hard counter to it. Because, what's the word I'm looking for? When it recasts, it's not going to be during our combat step, generally. Back with this dork, get a Valor from this connecting, probably. Then we could Dawn Mesa Duo off of this and get 2 more Valors. Pump up the jam, pump up the jam. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and double Valor this Dorko. And then leave this Runebind up. I want to keep this guy out of Sabretooth range. It's so sad. This hand is like so keepable if this is a ice or even just like a diamond, like anything that made a diamond here. Like this was Howling Plains or a Cobblestone. It's like Sneaper Keeper with the double guidance. This hand's great. It's amazing how many more hands are keepable when you just have like ice and guidance in your deck. It's a good pickup. Go ahead and do this and put a resource on top of my deck. We hit a wild threshold. Next turn we get to play Howling Plains Alpha. If we don't hit a wild threshold, next turn we get to go Intrepid Conjurer plus guidance to dig for wild threshold some more. Swamp Butt, Theorize, Thunderfield Seer. Interesting. What's going on over there? Into change course. Probably a Phoenix deck. Probably a Phoenix deck. Come on, wild threshold. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Gosh. Whoever designed the resource base in this deck must be really smart and thin. Or lucky. Look, if you have to choose between lucky and good, Marty, always choose lucky. Alright, sweet. So they're snowballing up some card advantage here, but we're just gonna like put a bunch of poopers on the table, right? I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and then I'm gonna play this Hero of Legend out here, and then like smash them with my 2/2 and make a Valor, and then like next turn I get to go like Conjurer, like go wide with my Conjurers. Valor plus Auspex of Lanupaw is also very good. Whenever you play an action, your troops in all zones get +1/+1 permanently. We have these guidances to work our way up to the Auspex consistently. Getting to play Auspex. You want to think of Auspex in this deck as a 5-drop. You want to play it and play a 1-cost action the turn you play it to immediately anthem everything. And then oftentimes it'll just eat a piece of removal. But in the event that it doesn't eat a piece of removal and you get a second trigger, like it's just all gravy on the cake from there. Perfect. I'm actually going to guidance for a resource here still, because again, Auspex is basically a 5-drop in this deck, so I want to do my best to be able to play it next turn, and on the off chance I hit a slow shard there, I didn't want to play this out necessarily first. So, I think I'm just going to start by attacking with these two. Got one Valor, so I'm going to play this. I'm going to attempt to Valor this. We could eat like a Transmogrifade here. We didn't. Sweet. And do that. And now we are super wide. And then next turn we're going to play Auspex and then Valor this one. And then give everything +1/+1. And then our opponent will be very, very dead. They hit a Ruby threshold. Okay. Put some Swamp Gas in the deck. This could unlock a bunch of cards out of their hands here. Sure. They have a way to kill this other Intrepid Conjurer too. It feels loose to kill the Howling Plains Alpha and not kill the Intrepid Conjurer. Okay, they're just killing the Hero of Legend as well. That makes sense, I guess. Like, they cut off the Valor producers instead of by go wide. But, like, all of these are about to be 4/3s. Which is great, too, because, like, there's a non-zero chance my opponent's deck has Scars of War in it. If they're a more controlling deck. And, like, playing this and then playing the Valor out here means that I'm going to get everything out of Scars of War range on the board. Here's my 4/3s. Let's go. And, like, now they're in the position where, like, they need to take this off the table or it's going to continue to make my board completely unmanageable for them, just by troops in general. But they also have to, like, interact with my board, which is a bunch of powerful troops here. Alright, so... Not 100% sure what the opponent's doing. Honestly, I'm kind of inclined to just click submit here. It's very possible that I want this extra Silver Talon Adjudicator. They could potentially have aggressive draws in a Swamp Butt deck, but we did see Lanupaw Sight out of their deck as well, which makes me feel like inclined to think that their deck's going to be full of card advantage. And if they're having card advantage, my Silver Talon Adjudicator is then card advantage for me. Pippit Hustler probably seems a little bit medium minus. Well, I guess like if Pippit Hustler's bad, Transmogrifade isn't stellar, and like Pippit Hustler's like Transmogrifade on a body, so maybe I don't want all these Transmogrifades. I also don't want too many 4-drops though, so it's like kind of a balancing act of like, I don't want to cut all of my interaction. I'm going to leave a couple Hustlers in, a few Transmogs, and I'm going to go up a Runebind here. Just in case I need to buy tempo or protect one of my things. Runebind protecting my things. They played a Pyre Strike that game, right? I feel like if I see Pyre Strike, I just automatically go to protection in these. They probably have Sabretooth in their deck too. Alright, let's do this. See how it feels. I think this hand's a redraw. Traditionally speaking, decks like this are pretty bad against decks like Kaigalichu. You don't want like the Rotten Rancor Eternal Seeker. They just kind of go over the top of you, and you don't really have a meaningful way to like interact with that type of thing. If you want to play this deck without Transmogrifade, you should play a bunch of Decree of Banishings. You basically just want a cheap, cost-efficient removal spell in that slot. I'd probably go to 4 Decree of Banishings and then maybe a third Runebind in the main, or like a 1 of Evaporate maybe. I guess I can Fate Weave for a 2-drop potentially here. Yeah, this is like the low end of keepable, I think. If we hit a Coyote, our resources are perfect, so it's probably worth keeping. Perfect. So, touch awkward here. You can see we have the Brown Fox Scout on top of my deck here. But I can't actually play this next turn, even if I Fate Weave, because this Diamond Ice means that I won't have Sapphire Wild Thresholds to play this. That's why there's 4 Wild Ice in the deck. Do you want Cheerios? There's Cheerios right there. Eat the Cheerios that are right there. I'm not pouring out more for you. Shard base is great. I'm going to have all 3 of my thresholds on turn 3, Marty. I'm just not going to get extra value off the Brown Fox Scout. I don't actually think, I think if you're playing poorly, the Massacre decks are hard, but like our deck puts a lot of individually powerful cards into play. So if you're pacing out your threats properly, I don't actually think the blood decks are that hard. Hi. I definitely think the Kaigalichu matchup is much harder than the Mono Blood matchups. The Mono Blood matchup is close to possibly good for us. And like drawing this Brown Fox Scout here won't be the worst. It's like gonna enable our Howling Plains Bluegrass, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and Guidance for a non-resource here since I already have 4 shards. It's plenty for now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and play this Intrepid Conjurer out and pass the turn. Why are you so obnoxious? Are you a ham? You hamming it up for the camera? I mean, like, it's Bride plus removal, right, Bob? Like, the Malice engine is good and Bride is good, but like, the rest of it is just like a bunch of 1-for-1s, right? So like, if you answer their cards that are good, like, it's not really that big of a deal. Man, you are trying really hard here, kid. I appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing with the cheese. We appreciate you hamming it up. Ham it up for the camera. Yeah, look at that. Look at that decklist smile. Should we angle the camera up here so we get that full decklist smile in? Look at that full decklist smile on camera. Yeah. Who doesn't love that decklist smile? Deathcry is a better version of that deck. Bloodwild Conscripts. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree that Deathcry is probably just a better version of Bloodwild. I think Bloodwild Conscript is probably a fine tier 2 playable deck, but like in the abstract of, oh, I probably should have boarded these out against Swamp Gas, huh? I should probably board these out against Swamp Gas. We were talking about how to reserve. Should probably board the 1/1s out against the champion that makes all the things that deal 1 damage. That's probably on the smart list of things to do. I have these Runebinds to protect my troops here too, which feels good. Can't wipe your nose, tiny booger monster. You want a different show? Okay. Which one you want, Declan? Which one? Okay. Monster Math Squad? Alright, Monster Math Squad it is. Alright, anywho, so now I'm playing this, and I think I'm just Valoring this Dorko, so that way it doesn't die to Pyre Strike at this point. Rotation's probably closer to a month and a half to 2 months out. Usually every other CCS is like a new format CCS. Well, it's possible I should save that Valor for this, because this can't attack into 2 1/1s without a Valor. If you're someone who's, yep, and then this still dies to Sabretooth, so like, yeah, I probably should have held that. If you're someone that doesn't want to lose value on cards that are rotating, if you're just buying into Hex, the 2 cards I'd recommend staying away from buying are Runir, Hierophant, and Transmogrifade are like the 2 expensive cards that like will be rotating out. I mean, like, honestly, Swamp Butt has a lot of the same problem that Winter Moon does, where like, sure, you activate your champion power early, but the amount of time it takes for you to get like actual value off your champion power is like exceedingly long. Pippit Hustler's decent. Do I want to offer this trade for these 2? I don't know that I do. I think I'm okay trading this for these 2 at this point, though. I feel like they don't have many relevant other permanents in their deck, so I'm just going to go ahead and Pippit Hustle this Arcana Clarity. Have a copycat. One of the important things to remember about Hustler versus Transmog is that Hustler can target anything, so like it answers stuff like Malice as well, which is great. Yep. They've got a bunch of cards here. we have way more power on board, so unless they have some kind of combo kill, they could have some kind of like Phoenix combo kill in all honesty. Together with the 15-month resubscription. All hail the greedy brews. This brew is really tame compared to the other ones we've been playing. We'll probably be heading back into like 12 slow shard territory here pretty soon. Yep, there's the Phoenix. So they can void 6 actions from their crypt to put the Phoenix into play for free. Swamp gas. Yep, there's one bird. I'm gonna go ahead and let them attack with these. Before I... Oh, nope. Okay. Interesting. Howling Plains Alpha is an interesting draw. I think I'm just gonna Valor the Pippit Hustler, because this means Pippit Hustler can trade for Phoenix plus another one. They have a lot of cards in their hands. They're probably going to be able to bring these Phoenixes back, but like they're going to run out of ways to bring them back eventually here. It would be kind of interesting for champions like Swamp Butt if like the champion power added things to your deck that were like proportional to like your starting deck size. Like, so for your 60 card deck, it like say put 5 Swamp Gas in your deck or something. It's possible I should try and Transmogrifade that Phoenix before damage actually happens. But, like, giving them a random 5-drop is actually kind of scary. I'm pretty sure I'm going to cut all these Transmogs from my deck for the last game. Go up another Hustler now that we've seen more of their deck. Again, we didn't really know 100% what they were doing here. Alright, 7-3 source is not the worst. Let's just use our Oracle Song here. Be really sad when we get, like, riposted here. Play my Oracle Song, please. I boarded out my Decree of Banishing too, didn't I? Because I wasn't sure what they were doing. Candlelight. Sure. Alright, that's probably actually going to lock the game up on us. Them getting a bunch of 1/1s here is pretty bad for us. Another Candlelight, gross. This does give us 4 flying power, and I can transmog the first Phoenix here. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actions in their bin. I'm pretty sure Candlelight is a bad Psychic Ascension most of the time. I think in a world without Psychic Ascension, it's probably fine, but in a world where Psychic Ascension exists, it's probably just pretty mediocre. Yeah, basically, like, the decks that want Candlelight, like, also generally have access to Psychic Ascension, so it's like, what are we doing with ourselves? Like, why are we doing this? Yeah, we're pretty dead at this point. Pack it in. Might have been able to steal it with those flyers, but they had a little bit too much there at the end. So Decree of Banishing seems fine. Oh, Martyred Saint seems fine. Makes my dorks bigger. Transmogrifade seems pretty terrible. Bring in the last Pippit Hustler. I suppose I could bring in the Venerable Mystic for hitting a critty. It's also not terrible with Runebind. Like, this plus Runebind kill anything. It's like not irrelevant. I'm just gonna do that. I think another Pippit Hustler is probably too many 5s or 4s. Pretty easy redraw here. No guidance, only 1 resource. A resource base could bite us this game. Why would I want a Silent Sentinel? But what is a 3/2 quick trip good for? No, Silent Sentinel only disables Deathcry triggers. It doesn't turn off abilities of cards and crypts. So it actually doesn't have any effect against the Phoenix. It would have an effect against the Boltwing Phoenix. It doesn't have an effect against Sunsoul Phoenix, though. Wild, Threshold, please, or Guidance. Howling Plains. Howling Plains. Cobblestone, Tilt. Does it say that? God, Tom, you're so right, and I am such an idiot. It literally does start off cards or crypts. It does, in fact. Weird. Yep. Yeah, that should be in the deck. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 should be a Silent Sentinel in the deck. So I thought about boarding out the Conqueror, and then I decided against it. I think we needed to apply pressure. Right on time, Wild Ice. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, so then play the Hero of Legend here. They don't have a way to kill this next turn. We're gonna go really wide, really fast, like we did in the first game, and just beat them down. And they do have a way to kill this, that, like, they might kill this instead. If they kill this instead, we've got this, so we're gonna get 2 more of these. Or 1 more of these, I suppose. You want a different show? Yep, they Pyro Struck that one. Non-slow Shard would actually be decent, so we could do this plus 2 Valors. Ding. Oh. Tilt. It needed to be explicitly a wild non-slow Shard. Need to be more specific. Which one do you want, Declan? We'll see what they have here. They need to impact the board this turn, I think. If they don't impact the board this turn, they're going to be in trouble. That being said, like, do they take this Intrepid Conjurer off the table? That could, like, make more Intrepid Conjurers? Do they take the Howling Plains Alpha off the table, which is going to add a bunch of power? Alright. Well, they took that one off the table. Deal. And they left us behind when this attacks or blocks Fate Weave. That's pretty decent. In general, Into the Unknowing Dual Shard cards is generally not going to make you hit too happy. A lot of the dual shard cards are pretty reasonable. Attack with these. And again, I feel like their best card of the matchup, or the best card to be Pippit Hustler, gives this a critty. So I'm going to go ahead and just snag that with the Pippit Hustler. Every day we hustling, hustling, hustling. Every day we hustling, hustling, hustling. This is going to put up to 4 actions in the bin here. They could put a couple of Phoenixes out this turn, so we'll see what they do. Yep, and again, that's why I think, like, keeping the Conjurers in a matchup like that are good, because they're, they just allow us to have our most aggressive start, so we just, like, want to be the beatdown. More importantly, we climbed our way back over this Scrublord Matthew Bamonte here. Scrublord in 15th, good Hex player in 13th, so all is right with the ladder, true measurements of skill. Scrublord's below good Hex players. Specifically this Scrublord below this good Hex player.